Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear. I just shot a couple of videos that I kind of needed to get shot timeline wise, and I realized I've got the camera set up. I hardly have time to shoot things these days, and there's a knife that I just wanted to show off. And I'm going to call it a review because I'm going to talk about some of my typical review points on it. But I probably won't be quite as thorough. I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to be relatively quick because I've got somewhere I need to go. Anyways, in the next few minutes, I would like to express to you how fantastic the Brown Knives FSD is. I was able to get this knife, luckily, because Kevin left EDC, one of my good buddies. He was able to score one of the mini versions of this knife. This is the kind of original one that he was doing for a while, and he's now stopped doing this one because he's doing a mini version. The mini version, I should say, is more like a normal size knife. I'm pretty sure it's like a 3.5 inch blade. This guy is huge. I think this is a 4-inch blade or just shy of 4. So it's a big knife. But this, oh, it's good. They're difficult to get right now because he hasn't made that many of them. He's doing drops for the minis every now and then. And right now, he's still doing the minis just in... It's either 154 CM or CPM 154. What's this one in? 154 is all it says. I don't know. But next year, 2023, he says he's going to be doing some of those in 20 CV. He did some of these in 20 CV as well. This one is number 8, so it's one of the early ones. But my goodness, this is one of the knives that I've been most excited about in a while. I have had a Brown Knives knife before. I had the Cortex V2, I believe it was called. I actually had 2 of them because I got one also from Kevin. And then I ended up trading it to someone for a version that had the hole in it because I wanted to be able to flick it. So it was in close succession, but I had 2 of them. That knife was amazing. I ended up trading it or selling it at some point, probably just to chase something else, but great knife. One of the better ultra high-end production knives, or I guess maybe you could call them customs. I don't know, you tell me what you think these are. I would say they're ultra high-end production because he's making them in little batches and you can get one out of a batch. So it's not really like a handmade custom, but it's also kind of in that level. I don't know, you tell me, where do you think this should land? Anyway, that knife was awesome. This knife is so much cooler. I would like to own another one of those, and this is just at another level. It's stupid cool. So he created this new lock. It's basically a button lock if you want to think of it in that way, but it's on the clip side of the knife. You've got this little button right here, and I think on this early one, this button's a little more plain. Now there's like a dimple in it or something to give it a little more traction. I don't care that this one's flat. It feels perfect to me. I'd have to feel the other one to tell you which I prefer, but I don't think I'd want to change this one per se. This is, I think he's calling it the Brown lock or something like that. It's just this really ingenious way of setting up a button lock that is new and locks into a channel on the blade. So lockup is bank vault solid, and it's so freaking fidgety. It's bananas how much fun this knife is to play with because of that lock and because of the way that this pivot and the bearings and everything comes together, the tolerances, the fitment, everything is just top tier. It's amazing on this knife. So let's look at it real quick. We've got this really sick milling pattern all over. We've got these cool pivot collars. It's a full titanium build. That's his logo there on the pivot. And we've got pivot collars on this side as well. We've got the button, as you saw. The knife is numbered. It says 154 because that's the steel that it's using. I love that this clip is if you caught it in the right light, you might not even tell there's a clip on it because it just looks like part of the handle of the knife because the milling matches up so incredibly perfectly. You can see there is a flat spot under the clip, like the whole clip, which makes it super, super comfortable going in and out of pocket. It's really, really good. We've got a titanium backspacer back here, and that's kind of it on construction, right? Amazing titanium scales, really cool milled titanium clip, milling pattern over the entire thing, titanium pivot collars, titanium pivot, cool button, and then we've got this 154 blade with a tall hollow on it. oh my gosh, it's tall. And it's stupid thin down behind the edge, stays thin for a lot of this grind. And then we've got this fuller up here. And the fuller is wild because it almost looks like it disappears. It's like an infinity pool, except it's an infinity fuller. Like the way that the spine terminates with the fuller kind of being the top edge, it just looks really freaking cool. I think it's a gorgeously simple blade, but that fuller just gives it so much personality at the same time. So in terms of deployment options, we have a flipper tab up here. You can see there's a little bit of jimping right up there on the top. It's way above the pivot, so the leverage you get, excellent. Just really, really good. We've got jimping up here on the front, so that, oh, I did that weird because my hand is trying to show you on the camera. You can front flip, which is great. But the way that I open this knife 98% of the time is just using the fuller, because if you can see, it just digs right in for your middle finger. And anywhere on this fuller, down low, up high, it's just bananas. It's so good. It is probably the most fidgety knife I've ever owned. I think that's probably safe to say. I've owned some really fun, really fidgety knives. Button locks have a way of being extra fidgety compared to other lock types, and this just takes it to a level that I didn't quite know was possible. It's so ridiculously good. I will be hunting a mini version of this. I will be trying on his drops, and I would love to get one. I'm not sure whether I would prefer to wait though until the 20 CV ones are happening, because I would prefer 20 CV by a decent stretch to whichever 154 it is. It's not that 154 is terrible, but I like this knife so much that I imagine with a mini one, it would become a very frequently carried knife for me. With it getting just enough smaller that it feels a little more appropriate to carry all the time. This thing is just a big guy, and I've been carrying it a ton, don't get me wrong, I love this knife, but a littler one would feel probably better to me if I'm guessing, and in that steel, and for the price that they are, I want to say these are coming in under $1,000 if you get a book spot. That's a knife that all day long I will carry and use and just adore and try to get my money worth out of like using it for a long time, because the level of fidgetiness, the sounds it makes, oh my gosh. Let me put it right next to the mic for a second. It's acoustically a masterpiece. It looks stunning. Like, there's so much about this knife that is just raising the bar now that I have it, for me personally, like in what's possible and realistic in a knife. This is excellent. It's been a mystery to me for a while why Brown knives aren't in higher demand, even his older models, because secondary on them, I've seen them for like, I want to say I've seen a couple like under $600, which is under table. His build quality, his attention to detail, the little engineering touches that he figures out and puts into his knives is amazing to me. And so it's wild that that you can get them for less than table on some of those models. These, I don't think that's the case. I think the wildfire is beginning on this model, and people are starting to understand what a genius this guy really is at building knives. But man, I hope this doesn't shoot me in the foot for my odds to get a mini coming up by just posting this video, by making more people aware of him, because it's so freaking good. It's such an easy knife. If this is a knife price range that you are comfortable playing in, that you're like willing to go after a knife that costs $800-900, $1,000, whatever these end up being, in 20 CV. I think they're like $850 if I shouldn't speak for them, and I'm not positive, but I think that's around where they are. It's so easy for me to recommend, if you're the type of knife buyer who's comfortable spending that, for this to be something that you go after. I can't imagine someone not appreciating this knife. It's so good. the sounds, the looks, the feel, the textures, the like this lock type that he created for the knife. It's stupid good. So hopefully that was at all fun for you guys to check out. This is the Brown Knives FSD, aka the For Sure Dude. No, I don't know what FSD stands for. I feel like For Sure Dude is just going to be what I go for. This is a wildly good knife, and I love it. You can probably tell. So thanks for checking it out. We'll see you guys on the next one.